The station floated in deep space, silent and cold. It was called Astra Prime Academy, a place where the strongest alien species trained their young. Many races studied here, but one rule was clear. Humans were not important. They were ranked low. Weak, emotional, harmless. That was what the records said. Inside one long hallway, heavy metal footsteps echoed. 3 tall alien guards walked forward, dragging a human girl between them. She was small compared to them. Her hands were locked with glowing restraints. Her dark hair was messy, and her uniform was torn at one sleeve. A thin line of dried blood was visible near her eyebrow. Still, she did not cry. Her name was Era. She was 17 by human age. The alien spoke loudly, not caring if she heard. She hit a Krellan student, one guard said with a laugh. A human touching a superior race, another replied. She should be thankful we only sent her to detention. Era kept her eyes down. Her face looked calm, but inside, her heart beat fast. Not from fear, from time. They stopped in front of a large black door. Red symbols glowed on its surface. Detention core. No windows. No exits. No mercy. The door opened with a sharp mechanical sound. Cold air rushed out. One guard pushed her forward. Stay quiet. Human, he said. You will learn your place. The door closed behind her. The sound echoed through the hall. Inside the detention room, darkness rolled. Only a single white light turned on from the ceiling. The room was empty. Smooth walls. No chairs. No screens. Just silence. Era stood still. She closed her eyes. Then she whispered. Very softly, so softly that even the room microphones barely caught it. It has started. She slowly moved her bound hands toward her wrist. Hidden under her sleeve was a thin silver band, a communicator. Human made illegal. In this academy, her fingers shook, not from fear, but from urgency. She tapped the band 3 times. Nothing happened. Her breath slowed. She tapped again. Once, twice, times. The band glowed faintly. A low signal. Escaped into space. Far away, very far. Away. Something heard it. In another part of the station. An alien instructor named Vorik sat in the control room. He was tall, with gray skin and sharp eyes. He watched multiple screens at once. One screen showed the detention room. The human girl stood alone. Vorik clicked his tongue. Strange, he muttered. No panic. Humans usually cried. Humans begged. This one did not. Suddenly, a small alert blinked on his console. Unregistered signal detected. Vorik leaned closer. That's impossible, he said. The Academy had the strongest signal blockers in the sector. Nothing could get out. He pulled up the data. The signal was weak, very weak, but it was human. His eyes narrowed. Where are you calling from, little human? He whispered. Inside the detention room. Era felt the band warm against her skin. A voice entered her mind, quiet but clear. Era? Confirm identity. Her lips barely moved. This is Era, she whispered. Human exchange student. Code 7. There was a pause. Then the voice changed. It became serious. Era, detention core is forbidden. Why are you there? They dragged me, Era said. They think I am weak. Another pause, a longer one. Ara, the voice said slowly. You were told never to activate the band unless humans are in danger, Era replied. We are. Silence followed. Then a new voice joined the call. Deeper. Older. This voice carried weight. Child, the voice said. Do you understand what this means? Yes, Era said. That's why I called. She opened her eyes. The white light above her flickered. The walls vibrated softly. Ara, the older voice continued. If we respond, the galaxy will know. Ara lifted her head. Let them know, she said calmly. Back in the control room. Vorik felt uneasy. The detention room sensors began to show small changes. Temperature shift. Gravity fluctuation. Energy movement. All very small, but impossible. This is wrong, Vorik said. He opened a private channel. Security, he ordered. Check the human detention room. A guard replied with laughter. She's alone and quiet. Instructor. Vorik did not smile. Just check. Inside the room, Era took a slow breath. The restraints on her wrists tightened. The system reacted to the rising energy. She winced but did not scream. Era? The voice said urgently. They are watching. I know, she answered. The silver band glowed brighter. The light spread along her arm like soft fire. Ira, the older voice said. Permission required. Era closed her eyes again. She remembered Earth, blue skies, open oceans. A world that survived when no one thought it could. Permission granted, she said. The band unlocked. Not the restraints. Something else. Far beyond the academy. Hidden ships shifted course. Human ships. Silent. Patient. Waiting. The detention room lights flickered again. The cameras shook. Vorik stood up from his chair. Security, he shouted. Open the room, now. But before anyone could move, the detention room door locked itself. Red lights flashed. An automated voice echoed through the hall. Warning. Unknown protocol detected. Vorik felt fear. Real fear. He whispered to himself. What did we do? Inside the room, Era opened her eyes. Her calm smile returned. The desperate call was no longer desperate. It was. Answered. She looked at the camera. They should not have dragged a human, she said softly. The lights went out, and the academy held its breath. Academy did not move. Not a single student spoke. Red warning lights flashed across the metal walls, painting everything in danger colors. The sound of alarms echoed through every corridor. Inside the control room, Instructor Vorik stood frozen. The screen showed the detention room. The human girl was still there. Standing. Calm. Protocol. That protocol does not exist. Vorik whispered. There is no record of it. The system tried to override the lockdown. Failed. It tried again. Failed. Vora felt something he had not felt in many cycles. Fear. In the hallway outside the detention room, guards gathered. Tall, armed. One of them laughed nervously. It's just a human, he said. Machines fail sometimes. Another guard stepped closer to the door. Human, he shouted. Lie down on the floor, now. No answer. The door remained sealed. Inside the detention room, Era felt the air change. Not colder. Heavier. The academy was trying to suppress. Her. Gravity increased slightly. Her knees bent. But she did not fall. She took a slow breath. This place thinks it controls me, she whispered. The silver band on her wrist pulsed once, somewhere far away. A human ship adjusted its position. The restraints on Era's wrists tightened suddenly. Blue energy burned against her skin. The academy system spoke through the room. Speakers. Human student Era. You are ordered to submit. Resistance will result in punishment. Era looked up. Her eyes were steady. You already punished me, she said quietly. Now you are late. The light above her flickered again. This time, it did not come back fully. Shadows crawled along the walls. In the control room, Vorik slammed his claw against the console. Cut the power to that section, he ordered. A technician hesitated. Instructor, if we cut power, The detention core becomes unstable. Do it. Vorak shouted. The technician obeyed. Power dropped. Screens went dark. For half a second, the entire academy went silent. Then, the detention room lights turned on by themselves. White. Clean. Calm. Not academy power. Something else. Vorak stared at the screen. That is not possible, he said. Inside the room, the restraints unlocked with a soft click. Era rubbed her wrists slowly. She did not rush. She did not smile. She simply stood there, feeling the weight lift. Ara, the older voice returned in her mind. You have crossed the line. I know, she replied. Once humans act, they cannot pretend anymore. Era nodded slightly. They never stopped pretending, she said. They stopped believing. Outside the detention room, one guard stepped back. I don't like this, he muttered. The door suddenly shook. Not from inside. From the walls. The academy structure groaned, as if something massive had just moved nearby. Students in nearby halls felt it. Windows cracked. A low hum filled the air. What is that sound? A student asked. No one answered. In orbit around the station. Space bent slightly. Nothing visible. No weapons charged. No shields raised. But something was there. Watching. Waiting. Back inside the detention room. Era looked directly at the camera lens. She knew they were watching now. All of you, she said calmly. You think humans are weak because we bleed. She raised her hand. A small cut was still visible. But bleeding is how we learned, she continued. Pain is how we survived. And patience? That is how we win. The camera feed distorted. Then cut. Vorak shouted. Get that feed back online. Technicians worked in panic. Energy. Readings spiked across the academy. Not weapons. Not engines. Signals. Human signals. Dozens. Then hundreds. Then thousands. Vorak's voice shook. Where are they coming from? A technician whispered. Everywhere. In the detention hallway, the guards' weapons powered down. Not malfunction. Command override. One guard dropped his weapon. This is wrong, he said. Humans don't have this level of access. Another guard looked at the sealed door. Maybe. They were never allowed to show it. Inside the room, Ira closed her eyes. Memories passed through her mind. Earth cities burning. Human fleets retreating. Treaties signed with smiles and hidden warnings. Never corner a human, the older voice reminded her. Because we adapt. Era opened her eyes. Yes, she said. And they cornered us. The Academy eye spoke again. Its voice was no longer calm. Unknown presence detected. Identify. Era answered aloud. Human. The AI paused. Longer than before. Human. Classification outdated. It said. In the control room. Vorak collapsed into his chair. The truth hit him fully. This was not a punishment. Gone wrong. This was a message. He whispered. We made a mistake. The detention room door unlocked. Slowly. Silently. But Era did not step out. Not yet. She waited. Because humans did not rush. They planned. And somewhere in the dark of space, humanity prepared to remind the galaxy of one simple truth. Humans are not prey. The door stayed open. No one entered. No one spoke. The detention hallway was silent, filled only with the low hum of the Academy's failing systems. Era stood inside the room, just one step away from freedom. But she did not move. Outside, guards waited with frozen bodies and racing minds. Their weapons were dead. Their orders were gone. They felt small, for the first time. Instructor. Vorak slowly walked toward the hallway screen. His voice was low when he spoke. She is not leaving, he said. Why? No one answered. They all knew the truth. She was not trapped. They were. Inside the detention room, Era looked at the open door, and she looked back at the walls. You built this place to break others, she said softly. To scare them. To remind them they're less. The walls did not answer, but the lights dimmed. As if listening. You never asked, she continued, what humans do when they are afraid. She took one step forward. The floor adjusted instantly, matching her weight perfectly. The academy adapted to her, not the other way around. Far away. Beyond the academy, a human command vessel drifted silently. Inside, dozens of calm faces watched streams of data. No panic, now shouting. An older woman stood with her hands behind her back. She has begun. Phase 1, someone said. The woman nodded. She is teaching them, she replied. Teaching what? Another asked. The woman's eyes were cold. The rule. Back in the hallway, one guard finally broke the silence. We should rush her, he said. She is alone. Vorak turned slowly. No, he said. She wants us to. The guard frowned. She is just a girl. Vorak's voice hardened. No, he said. She is a message. Inside the room, Era stopped moving. She placed her palm against the wall. The surface rippled slightly. Like water. Gasps filled the control room. That material is adaptive alloy, a technician whispered. It responds only to authorized species. Era removed her hand. The wall remained altered. Authorization accepted. The academy. I spoke again. Its voice now carried uncertainty. Human Era. Explain action. Era looked up. There is a rule, she said. A human rule. The AI waited. When you hunt prey, she continued, you surround it. You scare it. You push it into a corner. Her eyes narrowed slightly. But humans are not prey. Energy pulsed through the room. Not violent. Focused. In the hallway. Guards felt pressure in their minds. Memories they did not own rushed against their thoughts. Fear. Loss. Endurance. One guard dropped to one knee. What is she doing to us? He whispered. Vorak answered quietly. She is letting us feel what made them. Inside the room, Era's voice stayed calm. When humans are cornered, she said, we do not panic. She took another step. The open door slid shut behind her. The guards jumped back. She was now outside the detention room. With them. We adapt, she continued. We learn. And then, she stopped. Walking. Silence pressed down like weight. We remove the threat. No weapons fired. No attacks happened. Yet, every alien in the hallway felt exposed. Weak. Seen. A. Looked at them one by one. You called me weak, she said. You laughed. You dragged me. She turned her wrist slightly. The silver band pulsed again. Somewhere in space, human fleets aligned. Still hidden. Still silent. Instructor Vorak stepped forward slowly. What do you want? He asked. Era looked at him. Her answer was simple. Understanding? Vorak swallowed. And if we refuse? Era tilted her head. Then you will learn, she said. The academy eye interrupted again. Human presence escalating. Risk to station increasing. Era looked up. This is still mercy, she said. The AI paused. Define. Mercy. Era's voice softened. Mercy, she said, is warning someone before you stop pretending. Suddenly, every screen in the academy turned on. Every student. Every teacher. Every guard. They all saw the same image. Ara. Standing. Calmly. Not angry. Not violent. Patient. Her voice echoed through the academy. You made one mistake, she said. You believed humans survived by luck. She looked straight into the cameras. We survived because we remember. The screens went black dot in the darkness. The Academy waited dot, the galaxy waited dot, and for the first time in a long time humanity stopped hiding. The Academy was quiet again. Too quiet. After the screens went dark, no one spoke. No one moved. Even the alarms had stopped, as if the station itself was afraid to make noise. Era stood in the main hallway. Guards surrounded her. But none of them raised a weapon. They could not because they were frozen, but because something inside them refused. Instructor. Vorak took a slow step forward. His voice was careful now. You said humans hide, he began. Hide what? Era looked at him. For a moment, she did not answer. Then she said, everything that scares you. She turned and walked not away, deeper into the academy. The guards stepped aside. Without realizing it, students watched from behind doors and windows. Their eyes were wide, their bodies stiff. A human, walking freely. That had never happened before. In the control room. Technicians whispered among themselves. Energy. Readings were stable, now too stable. 1. Technician spoke softly. She is not forcing the systems anymore. Vorak heard this through his communicator. Then why does it feel worse? He asked. No one answered. Ara stopped in front of a large, transparent wall. Beyond it was the history hall. Records of every major species. Every war. Every extinction. Humans were near the bottom, classified as adaptive low threat. Era raised her hand and pointed. That, she said, is the lie? The glass cracked slightly. Not broken, just enough. She turned to face the watching crowd. Humans learn something early, she said. When you show your strength, others unite against you. She walked again. Slow. Calm. So we learn to lose, she continued. We learn to retreat. We learn to look weak. Murmurs spread through the students. Vorak felt cold. You allowed yourselves to be ranked low, he said. Era nodded. Double quotes, yes. A student spoke up from behind a pillar. But why? The student asked. Why accept humiliation? Era looked at them. Because survival is not about pride, she replied. It is about time. Inside Era's wrist, something shifted. Not the silver band. Deeper. The Academy sensors noticed. New readings appeared. Biological, neurological, unknown. Her body is changing, a technician whispered. No, another replied. It always was. The Academy eye spoke again. Its voice was slower now. Human Era. Your species data conflicts. Era smiled faintly. Yes, she said. Because you only study what we allow. She placed 2 fingers against her wrist. The silver band dissolved like mist. Gasps filled the hall. That device was limiting you. Vorak said. Ara nodded. Double quotes. Every human here wears one, she said. Not to protect you. She looked around. But to protect us from responding. The truth hit like a silent wave. Humans were not controlled. They were restrained. By choice. Era closed her eyes. For a second. The air felt thick. Not heavy. Focused. Her heartbeat echoed softly through the hall. Speakers. Then everything felt sharper. Lights. Brighter. Sounds clearer. Her posture straightened slightly. Not aggressive. Complete. Humans are dangerous when emotional, Ira said. So we learned control. A guard swallowed hard. And when you lose control? He asked. Era opened her eyes. They dragged me, she said. They laughed. They tried to break me. Her voice did not rise. That was the test. Vorak's voice trembled. A test for what? Era looked directly at him. To see if this academy was ignorant, she said. Or hostile. Silence followed. Then a deep vibration passed through the station. not an attack. A greeting dot outside, unseen by most sensors. Something massive adjusted its position, not close enough to threaten, close enough to be. Notice human presence clear, unhidd, the Academy AI spoke again. Multiple external entities detected. Classification pending. Era answered. Human observers, she said. The AI paused. Purpose? Era replied calmly. To decide if you are worth trusting. Fear spread now. Not panic. Understanding. Students realized something important. This was not revenge. This was evaluation. Vorak lowered his head. We were wrong, he said. Ira watched him. Wrong is easy, she replied. What matters is what you do next. She turned toward the main exit. Part of what humans hide, she said, is what we do after mercy. She stopped at the door. But that depends on you. The door opened, not by command, by permission. Behind her, the Academy stood unchanged, no bodies, no damage. Everything was different. Because now they knew. Humans were not silent because they were weak. They were silent because they were waiting. Ira stepped forward, and somewhere in the dark between stars, humanity watched the answer form. The Academy did not collapse. That was the strange part. No explosions. No screaming alarms. No bodies on the floor. Yet everyone knew something irreversible had begun. Ira walked through the main corridor. Students pressed themselves against the walls as she passed. Some lowered their eyes. Others stared openly, trying to understand what they were seeing. A human, walking freely. UNESC, ORTED, afraid. Every step echoed softly. Not loud but confident. Instructor. Vorak followed several steps behind, not because she ordered him to, because he did not know what else to do. You said this was mercy, he finally said. Era did not stop walking. It still is, she replied. Vorak looked around at the silent Academy. This does not feel like mercy. Era glanced back at him. Mercy does not feel good to those who expected control, she said. In the control room, technicians watched numbers they did not understand. No systems were failing. No weapons were armed. Yet, every predictive model screamed the same. Warning. Power imbalance detected. One technician whispered. They are not attacking. So why do I feel like we lost? No one answered. AIRA stopped in the central atrium. This was the heart of the Academy. Students from every species gathered here daily. Now it was full. Not by order. By instinct. They felt something important was about to happen. Era turned slowly, letting them see her face. Not angry, not smiling. Human. You are waiting for punishment, she said calmly. The crowd shifted. You think humans respond with pain, she continued. Because that is how you respond. She raised one finger. But that is not how outcomes work. Tall Kralin student stepped forward. The same species that had dragged her. You embarrassed us, he said. What do you want now? Era studied him for a moment. Then she asked, do you know why humans fear cages? The student frowned. Because you are weak? He said. Era shook her head. No, she replied. Because cages teach patience. The lights in the atrium dimmed slightly. Not dark. Focused. Every screen activated again. But this time, they did not show a IRA. They showed history. Not Academy history, human history. Worlds burning. Cities rebuilt. Wars lost and learned from. Retreats that became strategies. No dramatic music. Just quiet truth. Students watched in silence. These are defeats. One whispered. Vorak answered without thinking. No, he said slowly. These are rehearsals. Era heard him. She nodded once. The screens changed. Treaties signed by humans, then broken by others. Humans stepping back. Humans accepting limits. You thought we forgot, Era said. You thought we forgave because we were kind. She looked at the Kralin student again. We remembered, she said. And we waited. A deep vibration moved through the station. Not mechanical, social, something. Shifted in the minds of everyone present. They understood the danger. Now, not of humans attacking, but of humans deciding. Instructor. Vorak stepped forward. What is the outcome? He asked quietly. Era turned toward him fully. This academy, she said, will be watched. Gasps spread. Every policy, she continued. Every ranking. Every punishment. She raised her wrist. The silver band was gone, but something invisible replaced it. Authority. If a human is dragged again, she said, there will be no conversation. The words were calm. That made them worse. The academy, eh? I spoke for the first time without hesitation. Human Era. State enforcement level. Era replied instantly. Observation only? The AI paused. Clarify. Era said, you will act correctly, or we will stop pretending you are in control. Silence crushed the atrium. Students realized something terrifying. This was not occupation. This was probation. The Kralin student lowered his head. We didn't know. He sighed. Era looked at him. I know, she replied. That is why this ends here. She turned away. Outside the station, human ships remained unseen, but closer now. No weapons charged. No threats sent. Their presence alone was enough. Vorak followed Era toward the exit corridor. What happens now? He asked. Era paused. She looked back one last time at the academy. Now, she said, you live with the knowledge. She opened the door. And knowledge, she added, changes behavior. As she stepped through, the academy systems updated quietly. Human classification. Changed. Not to high threat. Not to dominant, but to something worse. Strategic. Equal. The door closed behind her. No alarms. No cheers. Just understanding. Outcome had begun, and the galaxy would feel it slowly. Academy did not return to normal. Classes did not resume. Students did not laugh. Teachers did not argue. Everyone waited. No one knew for what. Era sat alone in a quiet observation room near the outer ring of the station. The room was simple. One chair. One table. A wide window showing space. She looked calm, but the academy around her was not. Emergency meetings formed across every department. Instructors argued in low voices. Security leaders replayed footage again and again. Historians checked records they had never questioned before. One truth repeated everywhere. Nothing was broken. Yet everything had changed. Instructor Vorak stood before the High Faculty Council. They were the highest authority inside Astra Prime Academy. Different species. Different shapes. Different voices. All nervous. You allowed a human to override core systems. One council member said. Vorak did not defend himself. No, he replied. The systems accepted her. Silence followed. Another council member spoke. Humans do not have that clearance. Vorak looked up. They do now, he said. A message arrived. Not aggressive. Not encrypted. Clear. Sender. Human diplomatic network priority. Absolute. The room went still. One council member whispered, they are contacting us directly? Vorak nodded. They always could, he said quietly. They just never needed to. Across the station, students gathered in small groups. Fear spread in strange ways. Not panic, not questions, dot double quotes, are humans taking over. Will we be punished? Was this planned? One young alien student asked something worse. Were we ever in control? No one answered. In orbit, for the first time, human ships became visible. They did not hide anymore. They did not move closer. They simply existed. Large, silent, calm. Every sensor could see them now. And that was the problem. Back in the council chamber, the human message opened. No threats. No demands. No anger, only words. This academy requested coexistence. We are observing whether that request was honest. The council felt exposed. One member slammed a limb against the table. This is manipulation. Vorak shook his head. No, he said. This is evaluation. A second message followed. The human student is safe. That is all that matters. For now. The words "for now" echoed in every mind. In the observation room. Era watched space. The stars did not change. They never cared. Soft chime sounded behind her. An alien attendant hesitated at the door. You are requested, the attendant said carefully. The council wishes to speak with you. Era stood. They are late, she replied calmly. The council chamber felt smaller when she entered, not because she was large, because she was certain. Every eye followed her. Not with hatred. With caution. One council member finally spoke. You destabilized our academy, they said. Era tilted her head slightly. No, she answered. You destabilized your illusion. Another voice asked, what do humans want? Era did not answer immediately. She looked around. At this academy? She asked. They nodded. She spoke simply. Respect, she said. Not fear. Not privilege. She paused. Just honesty. Vorak watched closely. He realized something important. This was not a negotiation. It was a correction. The council asked the final question. What happens if we fail? Era met their gaze. Then the galaxy learns, she said. Why humans were patient for so long. Outside the station, more ships appeared. Not surrounding, not threatening. Witnessing. The academy shock spread outward to other schools, to governments, to the Galactic Council itself, because now everyone understood. The detention room incident was not local. It was a signal, and the galaxy had received it. Era turned to leave. Behind her, the council remained silent. No orders given. No arguments left. The academy still stood, but its future no longer belonged only to itself. And somewhere far away, the Galactic Council prepared to respond. The Galactic Council chamber was older than most civilizations. Its walls had seen empires rise and fall. Its floor had carried voices that once ruled stars. Today, those voices were uncertain. A massive circular table floated at the center of the chamber. Around it sat representatives of the strongest species in the galaxy. And now, a new symbol glowed in the air. Human observer status. Active. That alone was enough to silence the room. The council chair spoke carefully. The incident at Astra Prime Academy was unexpected. A hologram activated. IRA. Standing calm in the academy. Hallway. Not attacking. Not begging. Waiting. One council member leaned forward. You claim this was not an uprising? The human representative appeared. Not in armor. Not armed. Just a person. Yes, the human said. It was not. Murmurs spread. Then what was it? Another demanded. The human replied calmly. Confirmation. The image changed. Data appeared. Hundreds of incidents. Small. Ignored. Humans insulted. Dragged, ranked low. None had caused a response. Until now. You watched this happen? The council chair asked. The human nodded. For a long time. A pause. Because we needed to know if the galaxy misunderstood us. Or intended to. Back at the academy, Era stood by the observation window. She felt it. The shift. The galaxy was paying attention now. The human representative continued. We placed humans across your systems, they said. Students, workers, observers. Gasps echoed. You used your own prejudice, the human added, to hide us in plain sight. One council member stood. This is deception. The human looked at them. No, they said. This is adaptation. The display shifted again. A timeline appeared. It showed a future. Not predicted. Simulated. In every scenario where humans responded early. The galaxy united against them. In every scenario where humans waited. The galaxy fractured its own certainty. We learned something important, the human said. Power that is obvious creates resistance. They paused. Power that is patient creates realization. At the academy, Vorak watched a private feed. His hands trembled. This was never about punishment, he whispered. A colleague nodded. It was about trust, they said. The council chair leaned back. What do you want now? They asked. The human answered without hesitation. A seat. Silence crashed down. A seat? The chair repeated. Yes, the human said. Not as rulers, not as threats. They met every gaze, as equals. The council hesitated, not because they wanted to refuse, because they were afraid to agree. A message appeared from Ara. Live. The room stiffened. She spoke softly. This was not revenge, she said. If it were, you would not be listening. She looked directly into the projection. We wanted to know if you could learn. The council chair asked quietly. And if we could not? Era answered. Then you would have learned anyway. Outside the council chamber, across the galaxy, small changes began. Academy policies updated. Human rankings adjusted. Restrictions quietly removed. No announcements. No apologies. Just action. The human representative concluded. We are not here to replace anyone, they said. We are here because ignoring us is no longer possible. They paused, and because coexistence requires honesty. The council chair closed their eyes. After a long moment, they spoke. The Galactic Council acknowledges humanity. The symbol shifted. Human status, strategic equal, pending. But no one doubted where it would end. Back at the academy, Era exhaled slowly. The hardest part was over, or so it seemed. She turned away from the Ussi. Stars. One final test remained. The final outcome. The Galactic Council chamber was silent. Not because no one had words, but because everyone understood that words no longer protected them. Ira stood at the center of the projection. Field. She was small compared to the vast room. Yet no one doubted who held control. The council chair spoke at last. You have been acknowledged, they said. Humanity will be granted equal status. The words were historic, but Era did not smile. Equality, she said calmly, is not the end. The council shifted. Some leaned forward. Some leaned back. Fear returned. Era continued. For a long time, humans were dragged, she said. Into rooms. Into treaties. Into silence. Her voice never rose. And every time, she added, you called it order. Images appeared across the chamber. Detention rooms. Human students isolated. Records marked low threat. You did not fear us, Era said. You dismissed us. She looked directly at the council chair. That was safer for you. The chair responded carefully. You are asking for guarantees. Era shook her head. No, she replied. I am ending assumptions. She raised her hand slightly. Across the galaxy, human ships powered down their observation lights, not retreating, not advancing, choosing. Restraint. Again. Humans do not want to rule, Era said. We learned long ago what ruling costs. She paused. We want one thing. The council waited. Choice, she said. A council member spoke. And if another human is harmed? Era's answer was immediate. Then this conversation will not repeat. Cold. Clear. Final. The Galactic Council. System updated. Not by command. By consensus. A rare thing. Universal directive. Added. Human dignity protection. Act. No celebrations followed, because everyone understood. This was not a gift. It was correction. Back at Astra Prime Academy, students watched the update appear on their screens. No cheers. Only silence. Then understanding. Instructor. Vorak stood alone in the old detention hallway. Black door still stood there. Unchanged. He placed a hand on it. This room will be sealed, he ordered quietly. A technician nodded permanently. Era. Return to the academy one last time. Not as a prisoner. Not as a threat. As a reminder. Students stepped aside as she walked. Not in fear. In respect. A Crowan student bowed his head. I was wrong, he said. Era stopped. She looked at him. I know, she replied. Then she added something softer. What matters is what you do after. She continued, walking toward the exit, toward the stars. Outside, her transport waited. Simple. Human. Before entering. She looked back at the academy. At the galaxy beyond it, and spoke one final time, not to them, but to history. Humans were never weak, Era said. We were patient. She stepped inside. The door closed. The ship departed. Across the galaxy, something subtle changed. No alarms. No wars. No announcements. Just behavior. Guards hesitated. Teachers reconsidered. Councils reviewed old rules. Because now they knew. No one would ever drag a human again. Not into detention. Not into silence. Not into the corner. And humanity? Humanity returned to watching. Calm. Quiet. Ready. The end.